Why would a church or just any form of government try to convince everybody suffering is good for you? It is because of austerity. Austerity means that the poor, the working class has to take the hit so the rich class can be rich. And what rich people do with their money is pedophilia and human traffic. Spoilers, that's why they're billionaires. In this country, we worship the rich. I mean, outside of Luigi Mangione, that had the right idea. But this shit came up with Anal Eating Mummy God because I started talking about how the church is. I called it, when I was the president, I kept calling it the misery machine because all it does is facilitate suffering on every level. It is a structure that just causes pain, and it causes as much pain as it can, and then tells you it's good for you. It's good for you. And if you believe pain is good for you, I'd recommend just having your spouse smash your knees with a sledgehammer and break your elbows and just let them keep hurting you. You don't have to go to church to do it if you actually believe suffering is good for you. But I also think this psychology creates I'm immiserated, so I'm going to hurt other people, and therefore it is okay because life is suffering. So it is okay to cause suffering because that is the natural state of life. And if you're not causing suffering, you are suffering. It is a general fact. Traumatized people, and everybody in this church on some level is traumatized, and their goal is to traumatize other people. Because something about traumatized people, go to church. I remember Blondie went on a thing explaining to me when we were at Papa John's, because he's a classist. He's an extreme classist, and even expressed that he doesn't even like the rich wife that I had. He doesn't like her because she's not one of the superior beings. She's not Aryan. But he had to make sure she stayed out of my hands because she had money. And he has to make sure that money stays out of the poor's hands, because if the poor's get money, they might do something crazy with it, like try to get health care for all. White entitlement and rich people are hilarious because it's a self-replicating cycle where you have these people who are born with easy lives and then they're immiserated by their easy lives. And then they get mad and they turn self-righteous and start telling other people, you don't want money, I'm immiserated by it because you're an idiot. There's a lot of good you could do with your money. You're not gonna, because you're an idiot. You can't explain it to them, and then they go, well, I have all the money and power anyways, so screw you, and then you end up with like the Marie Antoinette shit where eventually, you get murdered, or you end up with the Luigi Mangione, you get a bullet to the head. And that's how these people work. You're not going to explain it to them because they don't have the ability to take perspective. I remember this really funny moment one time when I was talking to this rich fuck at work, and literally, rich people believe being a dumb asshole or a dumb bitch is a personality when they're just stupid. Okay. In regards to that, like, you have, because of the, why on earth that is a thing, I'm pretty sure I could probably figure out. But more importantly, is, as I was talking to these people, I told them they had no real problems, and they're like, I do have real problems. I was like, okay, what are your problems? Basically, my dad doesn't like me. I have all these entitlement issues, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, get a psychologist. Pay a psychologist. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna do the stupid thing. And I was like, yeah, all that money and power, and you're just gonna do the stupid thing. You're a useless person. Born useless. Always will be useless. And this is the truth, their highest priorities is sex and drugs. Because even Blondie was like, everybody's jealous of all the sex I'm having and all the money. It's not jealousy. You gotta understand, that this is a dangerous mistake people make when they're like, that guy's jealous. They're jealous. They're so... Some people actually just want you to fucking die. They're not interested in money. They're not interested in any of that shit. They see you causing nothing but suffering, and they want you dead. Now, this church is the facilitator of the ultra-rich and the imbalance in the U.S., where you have a ridiculous amount of money in the hands of a handful of useless people, and they are useless people. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, all the billionaire class are useless people. And this church in itself literally siphons up as much money as it can to immiserate the working class. The church itself is the literal boot of fucking white supremacy and the ultra-rich, crushing the working class, and everybody in it, for some reason, believes they're on the good side. They believe they're doing the right thing by being immiserated and suffering. And if you can convince somebody that suffering is a good thing, holy shit, can you sell fucking ice cubes to an Eskimo? Because even the church leaders, this is an actual thing, talking to Gannon and three other, every one of them would go, sometimes you just need to shut up and take it. You need to shut up. What they're saying is you need to shut up and take it in the ass mentally, physically, and spiritually. And that is how perverse these people are, okay? When I say they are a fascist entity, they are a fascist entity. They hate America, they hate freedom, and they want to live in a world where the people who are already rich are still handed everything, and they live desensitized lives. They can't perspective take, and they don't understand other people, so they can't connect with other human beings. So, in that regard, you will never, ever fucking stop these people, alright? As long as people are dumb enough to believe that this is good for them, as long as you got people that are like, oh, suffering is suffering, and I'm gonna cause as much of it as I can, and then they don't even get, dude, the shit that kills me is for murdering people and causing as much hell. These people do not even get that much money from the church, okay? It's like the lowest amount they could possibly pay a human being to do these horrible, horrible tasks. And it is disturbing to think that these people are willing to kill for such little money. But that's a part of the system, and it's created by the church. Okay, it is by design. Alright. And once again, the church doesn't pay out. They murder you. So, because they gotta make sure the poor stay poor no matter what, and the working class stay working class, because if you have a system where people can work their way up and things can change and everybody can be happy, oh my god, it will be horrible. People will have prosperity and nobody will need to suffer, and then the suffering will go away. But what about the human trafficking and my crazy sex parties and the drugs? One of my funnier moments I had in Ackworth was that Gannon guy when I literally told him you can do drugs at a flop house, and then he became obsessed with creating his own flop house. Like, these people in the tetra-lead brain and their addiction is just insane, okay? One of the weirder things was the guys talking about being in prison and talking about being hated by everybody, and growing up in Ackworth as like one of the black people, quote unquote. I was hated by every white person, and I went to a white school, so they all had fucking problems with me. And then when 9/11 kicked off, everybody thought I was an Afghan and everybody wanted to kick my ass. And then they're telling me in prison everybody wanted to kick their asses, and I was like, that's every day for me. That was the first time probably in their life that they got a new perspective on what the world actually feels like for a working class person. Yeah. Because in their world, they're gods. They kill everybody, they decide everything, and everything is handed to them. So therefore, they're special, and that's entitlement. And once again, it is a rule of the church, entitlement. And this was even Anal Eating Mummy God. I remember I got tired of him because he kept telling me, oh, I have to do this. I was like, give it to me. And I was like, no, I'm using your philosophy, entitlement. Give it to me. I'm entitled to it. Give it to me. Give it. And I started doing it, and he's like, stop that. Stop it. Stop it. And he started getting crazy. And it's because these people aren't connected with reality in any way, and yet they want to be rulers, they want to be in control, and yet they don't even understand the working class. The only thing I know for a fact from Blondie, word verbatim from his classism, is he hates the working class. And if he could find a system where he could have all the money in the world and make sure the working class never had it because they don't understand it. they don't understand the good life. They don't understand how easy it is for me. And I was just, shut up, man. Shut up. Okay? You don't even do anything good or special with your money. You just human traffic and do drugs. And then you go around being envious, and they are envious regardless of how much money they have. They are insecure, and insecurity comes from envy. They're insecure from being raped. They are envy brains. And I remember one of these assholes was like, oh, none of the church leaders are... You guys aren't allowed to be held accountable for your actions. So even if you are envious, you are not going to be held accountable for it. Okay, there's nobody going to whoop your ass or beat your ass, which is what should happen. Because that's how you create good people, is through discipline. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's amazing that how fast people get corrupted, but I'm also reminded of this experiment they did where they told they found select people, told them they were superior beings, and as soon as you tell somebody they're better than other people, these people, they self-isolate because they're like, I'm better than everybody and nobody understands me, therefore I'm going to self-immiserate and be alone and be miserable alone, and yes, they isolate themselves. But the other part is they start punching down and behaving like dicks. Yeah, they immediately start punching down and behaving like dicks. It's a fact. And they start trying to segregate and separate people and explain that because they're superior, other people don't understand their superior problems, which are made up by the fact that the delusion that they are superior. Unless you can take a bullet, unless you can fucking withstand a nuclear explosion, unless you have actual physical proof that you are genuinely superior, like in some specific form. And here's the thing about this church, they have to cheat at everything to win. Even with me, I can't have a lawyer to represent myself. That's cheating to win. It's cheating to win. Everything they do, they could not take you in an honest battle one-on-one. They have to cheat to win. Keep them fighting one arm behind their back. Cheat no matter what. And that tells you, if you have to cheat to win, you've already lost, and that means you are not superior. That means you're inferior, and you can't deal with that reality. And reality's right here, and these people think it's subjective. So, yeah. I'm just gonna cut it right here. I think I said what I needed to say. These people, I'm willing to bet, project, and they're like, Bobby's so jealous, Bobby, no, I'm not jealous, I'm pissed. And in the emotionally stunted mind, pissing you off is a thing with them, because you're like, oh, I'm in control, I pissed him off, it's a good idea. And I remember this shit with Ganon, where I was just like, you get a bullet to the head, and I remember, and every time you do that, they're like, the church would, you'll be dead, it doesn't matter what the church does after that. And I remember this, you see the horror on their face, because there's this, I can do whatever I want, but for some reason I can't be killed. And I think maybe shooting these people might really bring in some real perspective for them, you know? But whatever, dude. We don't live in that world. We live in the dumbass world where these violent, stupid people, and they are violent, stupid people with bad ideas. And even the church leaders themselves, a lot of them aren't even that wealthy. And I'm starting to think, like, maybe when I get that wish from anal eating mummy god, I'm just going to be like, I wish every church leader had to live in poverty. Like, and I think that would be a legitimate wish, and he would just take everybody, take all their money, and then just, everybody has to make minimum wage. I just totally picture Blondie. What? And then fucking right into poverty. He's fucking living in the ghetto. Hey, no. And then you just, suffering is good for you, Blondie. Suffering is good for you. And you just keep saying it to him. No! I think that's what I'm going to wish for. I think that would be funny as shit. Because not only would these fucking assholes be immiserated by their own religion, but they'd be dirt poor for it too. I mean, the church would love it because they'd get to save up all that money. They wouldn't have to worry about paying the church leaders. Dude, I just totally picture Bloody being like, what do you mean I can't have his wife that's rich? Because she's rich and I have to be poor? I can only marry poor women? Poor women are ugly! Just fucking sitting in the fucking Pinto with the fucked up windows and like the 4 hubcaps that don't match, and he's, oh no, my self-worth, it was stolen by Bob, that sack of shit. Trust me, if you put all the church leaders into poverty in this church, the minimum wage would go up real quick. It would. They would immediately go, I know it'll destroy the economy, but I can't afford all my nice trinkets. And dude, some of these guys are streamers and they need the money to stream. Suddenly they wouldn't be allowed to stream because they have to live in poverty, so they wouldn't be allowed to have the money from streaming. They'd just be fucking poor. Oh, the fantasy worlds, am I right? That should be what I should wish for. I think that would be funny as shit, because then, like, you just have a bunch of people with, like, what do you mean I have to survive off of? Yep, you're only allowed to have minimum wage. That's it. And if you have a wife, she also has to live off of minimum wage. And if you get any money, you have to give it to the church. After all, life is suffering.